safe space. We ain't never give a reason you should hide. Compile all your questions, we taking the quest. Join Tarsha on this journey to discover the rest. Go.
Welcome to the Adoption Journey podcast. I am your host, Tarsha Smith, and welcome back to another journey, another week, another beautiful story. Before we get started, y'all already know, like, subscribe, tell all your friends, go to the YouTube page, just click that little button, do all the things. I'm not going to stay there because you already know what you need to be doing, right? So today I have you know what? I'm not sure if I should call you adoptee or there's a story. Let's say that. There's a story. But her name is Brittney. Hey, Brittney.
Hi.
Hi. And we're just going to dive right in. So, and the reason why I said I don't know whether or not to call you an adoptee, but I know you spent some time in the foster care system, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So let's start there. How old were you when you went into the foster care system?
Well, actually, 21 years ago today, I went into foster care. So it is the 21-year anniversary of me and my siblings going into foster care. We were 10. It was the summer of 2003. Up in Michigan, you start school after Labor Day.
Yeah.
We was hyped for the 6th grade. It was a middle school that everybody went to.
Okay.
And I have a twin. We was like, oh, we gonna dress the same. We gonna do this. Like, we had it all planned out.
Okay.
And foster care happened shortly after.
So can you get into what happened leading up to, because it looks like it caught you off guard from, or did
Yeah.
you, okay. So
So
what
let's
happened?
see. So I don't know if y'all remember, or even if you remember, Michigan had the biggest blackout a week prior. It was like a statewide blackout. That was
Okay.
also the year that the Cheetah Girls came out
Girl.
on Disney. So around that same month, you
Okay.
got this blackout that happened. And
It
that we
seems
ran
like I kind of remember something like
I
that
know it was like
happening.
August 15th, 2003, August 15th.
Okay.
When I say statewide, like
Mm-hmm.
nobody was excluded from this blackout. So I'm like, everybody was stealing. Imagine grocery shopping. Imagine grocery shopping. Kmart was the thing back
Oh,
then.
she said Kmart. Are they still in
Kmart,
business?
Sears. But biggest blackout, like, okay, we got through that. So in the projects, anybody that came through was getting wet up. Whether you was the police, an innocent bystander, like I'll never forget that. So we got through that, power came back. We pumped for middle school, 6th grade, and my siblings and my biological mom would steal to get us the things that we needed. So clothes, food, and back then they didn't have sensors on the clothes, so
Mm-hmm.
you can just walk in and walk out. And 5th grade
Okay, wait a minute.
graduation.
Hold on. So you and your siblings and your mom stealing.
So I stole for the one because we had to dress up for 5th grade graduation, but
Okay.
I was not a part of the daily stealing.
Not the daily stealing. What?
Yeah, the
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wasn't a part of that, but we did have to dress up for 5th grade graduation. We
Okay, let
didn't
me
have
ask you
it.
this. Hold on, because I'm still in this. I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around this. What was going on with Mama where this is what we had to resort to, or she felt like she needed to resort to?
How I remembered what I was told. We came home from school one day. My twin looked in the cabinets; they were empty, and I guess
Mm,
Kathy saw it and decided she was going to do something about it.
okay. And who was
And
Kathy?
so Kathy is my biological
Okay.
mother.
Okay.
So I don't remember the first day they started stealing. I just
But
knew that
this
that
became a
became part
norm.
of the life. Yeah, absolutely. It
Okay.
became part of the norm. Fifth grade graduation coming up. Like, hey, I remember sitting in the class. Like, we have to dress up. Where am I going to get, a dress or a skirt
Mm.
from? Remember, we going home, addressing this, and like we had to do what we had to do. So I
Mhm.
remember her taking us to Kmart and was like, this what you do. Take however many outfits, basically find something that you like, take it in the dress room, whichever one you like, put it on, put your clothes back on. Now, this is when I was on that church bus every Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Mhm.
So I would do that when they were going to steal. But I just remember saying, if I'm gonna go to jail for stealing a little shirt and a top, let it not be just for that. So I'll never forget walking out with a little black rectangular purse that had butterflies on it and some pink shades that matched the top and skirt that I had on. And
Mhm.
I remember my twin and we taking pictures back to back, and everybody like, "Ooh, twin, where y'all get that from? Y'all stole it?" And we was like, "Yep, like y'all mamas wasn't putting in a request either. Don't play." Because y'all mamas was putting in what they wanted from freaking stereos, TVs, food, clothes. So don't
That's wild.
don't don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But it was like the scariest day of my life. And I'll never forget the day that my twin and my other sister had gone to Kmart. Usually they would go come right back. Like that
Mhm.
was, and I guess the day that they decided to go, Kathy was just like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. So my sister, Brandy, she was just like, she kept going. She kept going with
She
the
got addicted
cart.
to it.
And I remember Kathy saying that the sheriff, they decided to walk out. The sheriff tapped her on the shoulder and was like, I'm sorry. So apparently by then they had been being watched.
Yeah, yeah.
So when they didn't come right back, I knew, like I felt it in my gut that something was not right. And my younger sister, she is what, 25? She was maybe 3 or 4 at the time. So she
Mhm.
was with me. And I remember like pacing by this time, pacing. And I remember I'll never forget looking down like the sidewalk. So if you think about how like projects are built, so it's like different buildings, but then you have like the
Mhm.
little sidewalks. And I remember looking, seeing a swarm of police cars, sheriff cars, unmarked cars. And then before I knew what it was, like state cars that had state of Michigan on it.
Mhm.
And I remember just running like somebody was like trying to kill me. And one person I knew to call from the church that drove the church bus called her, told her what was going on. She came and got us. And I never understood why she drove back to the church to the scene. And I'll never forget Kathy flagging her down, crying, and asking if she had seen us, opened up the door. The van door slid it open, and we were right there. And Kathy just kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, y'all gotta go. But before that, my twin came running up to me like, they finna take us. I'm like, take who? I ain't do nothing. Like, that was just my whole.
Okay,
So I
hold on.
ran.
So all
Yeah.
these people showed up this day for you all?
Because she had said she had 2 other kids. There's 4 girls. 2 were already in the custody of the state. But Kathy was like, oh, I got 2 more kids.
And they can't.
Yep. So, and the day I got in behind that state car was the day I said, by the way, I was raped. So,
She just turned a sharp left turn on me.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the day because by then I felt safe.
Okay. Can we unpack that? Let's
Let's talk
unpack
about it.
that. Let's talk
Yeah.
about it. If you tell however much you want or don't want.
Or they can just get my book.
Oh, come on and advertise the book. Come on and advertise the book. Yes, they can definitely get the book. I need the book. need the book. Okay, so you know what? Don't dive into it because there's a book. Just know that happened. Okay. So what happens next when you go with the state?
After the four of us was in one foster home together. First time we
What?
were ever split up. We went to an all-white family. Now, mind you, we from Flint, Michigan. Okay, so
Say less. Say
we,
less.
we, we
I
from
know.
Flint, Michigan. So my thought was these little ghetto black girls. It was culture shock.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a culture shock. We had black teachers. So when we moved to Port Huron, was the first time there was a mixture of white folks,
Yeah,
black
yeah.
folks, Hispanics, having a white teacher. But we had black teachers in Flint. Like it was just black
It was just
everywhere you.
black. Black
It
and
was.
black.
Oh, you hear me?
That's it.
But that was, man, it's like, how do you describe that? But the four of us was together, and I remember them saying, I'm sorry, but there's not enough room. We're going to have to split you guys up. And of course, they kept me and my twin together. So my twin and I was in the country. The other two had went back to the city. Port Huron, Michigan is
Hmm.
where we spent majority of the rest of our childhood, rather. And went to all white school.
Okay, listen.
6 black folks I counted on hand.
Uh,
So
so you hear a lot about, okay, I don't even know where to begin. Being dropped off someplace and being removed from your culture, removed from what you know, not seeing anybody or really seeing anybody that looked like no representation. On top of having been removed from your home and your mother as a child, if you remember, what does that do to a child your age? Because that's a lot.
if we really want to dig, and I'm in no way a professional when it comes to certain things, but
Yeah, but
I've
this is your
looked at my
story. It's your story.
experience.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lived
Absolutely,
experience.
absolutely. That I think that's what makes me a professional in my own right.
Absolutely.
But something like that, so there's already trauma. But then you come in, or a situation like this, and you get snatched out of the only thing that you know,
Right.
whether it's good or bad, and you put me somewhere. Now there's going to be, if we can say, cultural trauma, because
Mm.
where am I? Who are these people?
Mm-hmm.
Now, natural hair wasn't in.
Right, right,
Okay, this 2003.
right. We still straightening.
Hair sitting here on the
Right, right,
shoulders.
right.
Imagine it's picture day. You hear that over the speaker. Picture day is such and such day.
And I need my
We
hair
gotta go back
done.
to this foster home where black hair is foreign. And I remember my twin and I coming to the house and took every product you can think of and put it on our hair, and then took a straightener, and I pulled my bangs straight down. And I just found the picture.
Please,
I'll send it to you when we're
please
done.
do.
But you can tell, like, had hair for days, but it was just caked. Gray background. I had on a gray skirt and shirt top with black, looked like tree branches, but they were dead, if I could describe it now, with a gray background. So I got on all gray with spots of black and a gray background. Like, who said this is okay?
So the two of you are in there trying to figure out your hair.
Yep.
Your foster parents at the time, they just didn't know or just didn't care. Which one was
Didn't
it?
know. So here's the other thing. They did not take girls. They took only boys. For whatever reason, Bianca and I were the exceptions. We were the first girls to come through, and after that, they started taking a mixture. So it was something about us that made
Mm-hmm.
her go against what she
Was she?
believed in
Yeah,
and
yeah.
why she would not take. So evidently we were special because we were removed 3 times. And all 3 times we went back to that foster mom.
Why
So
were you removed?
couldn't drop clean. Couldn't stay clean. Couldn't stay clean. Third time we were removed from school. Second time we were removed from school. Third time I made a report.
For the listeners,
And
for the listeners, you gotta break it down in layman's terms. So when you say you couldn't drop clean, I know what you mean, but there's some people that
yeah.
might not understand what. So break that down for the listeners.
So Kathy, my biological, she tested dirty. So any drug test that she took, she failed because she was heavily addicted to the drugs at that time.
And you were
So,
removed once again.
yep, and the
Yeah.
drugs outweighed what she had going on.
Yeah. And every time you went back to the same. Now, at that second time, and even that third time, are you guys? How many years have gone by? Like, how old are you each
Oh
time?
gosh. We went in August 2003. Rights were terminated April of 2004.
Oh, very quickly.
Quickly. Which seemed like forever because now I'm like you in a storm and it don't seem like it's gonna stop raining. It don't
Yeah.
seem like the storm is gonna ease up. Now in that, so by the second time, here come these behaviors. Behaviors are developed, and I'll never forget being told that this isn't going to work. My behavior was so, I don't even want to say bad, but behavior had become such an issue that, and shout out to that foster mom for saying, well, I can keep you, and then she goes somewhere else. You guys are going to have to go together. And if we rewind and go back to me being at church and was on the praise dance team, there was a lady who did the dancing, heard about us going into the system, got her license, got us. So by the second time, when they were getting ready to move us further out in a part of Michigan we had never heard of, is when the call came through that foster parent B wanted us. So, 29 move, place was too small. Had to get a bigger place for the other two sisters to come. So all four of us could be together again.
Oh, so now
Behavior.
all four of you are back together.
Yep.
Okay.
So behavior is still an issue. I'm bad now. I have too much drama now. So, and these are all the things that I was reading in my file. Yeah, I got a hold of my file
You're off the
during
hook.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I know who it was that said what. And I remember getting, removed out of the home because my behavior. I like to think that I was not only misunderstood, but I was misheard.
Sure. And traumatized.
So dealing with that,
And when you
got
say
removed,
behavior, just to paint a picture, are you guys still
meltdowns,
say again?
tantrums,
Okay. Okay. Oh,
these outbursts, like
yeah.
uncontrollable. Did a lot of rocking and tapping. So there were things like the rocking and the tapping of the fingers that were evident, which when we come back, we could really unpack. But there were some things that were going on that could not be handled. I mean, it was being dealt with medication.
But not dealt with for real.
Absolutely. Not dealt with for real. Just a little band-aid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and you're still a kid. We're not even an adult yet.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
11.
11.
Yeah, because it was 2003. Yeah, it was summer.
Yeah, just
We were
the
10. Yeah.
so walk me through these teenage years, which are already awkward just for just a normal teenager. So walk me through that little space.
By then, I was removed from foster parent B, and now I was in emergency placement. And then I went to foster parent C. That didn't last. Came back to the house from school. All my stuff was packed up in garbage bags, and was told you are going to the Children's Home of Detroit.
You
So
and your sister?
now,
You and your twin?
no,
Just you
no,
now.
just me, just me.
At what point do you and your twin get separated?
When I left foster parent B.
Okay.
So now
So
I'm in this.
so they said you gotta go, but she can stay?
Right. So now I'm outside of Detroit. I'm in the little suburbs, so it's black folks, like black folks, staff is black. It's a
Mm-hmm.
mixture. I was there for a year. I got there when I was 13. I left when I was 15. Just
Welcome.
shy of 2 years. And I'm in a cottage. I'm in a room with three other girls,
Mm-hmm.
sharing a bathroom, sharing the like whole living space, and having 7-minute phone calls. That was the closest I've ever been to jail. I'm good. And I will never forget my twin talking on the phone and saying that they had got my twin and my youngest sister, who's 25, however old she is now. But the two of them had gotten adopted together. And I think
Oh,
then I just remember saying, "What about me?" And this is my identical twin.
was it by foster parent B or they were adopted by?
Yep. Foster parent
So
B.
they told you you had to go and then adopted the other two.
Yeah, my behavior was the reason why
Right.
yep.
But wow, how do your siblings feel about that
Now,
at that
because
time?
well, I don't know how my twin felt other than she only went along with it because she didn't want to bounce around.
Sure. Sure. I get that.
And her name changed and all of that. But
First and
both of their
last or just
names,
last?
first and last. Yep.
How I just don't understand how
At,
people
at,
change
at
people's names that
13,
that
yeah.
old.
Yeah. So when you find out, let me know.
Girl.
Because she's now in the process of trying to go back to Bianca Turner. Because it was Brittany and Bianca.
And what did they change it to?
Maya.
But she's 13. Why are you
Yeah.
changing her name?
Yeah. But yeah, when you find out,
I don't understand.
yeah. So,
Oh, girl. So at 13 to 15, like I said, those are already awkward years. And you
yep, you
get this news
got
that your sisters have been adopted. Do you begin to act out even more? Or,
even more. Listen, I got every restriction. So, first of all, I've kept everything from foster care because that we're redoing my book
okay,
with some more truths in there,
okay. Because you're
pulling
ready
some
to,
stuff out.
yeah, you're ready.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so there was even more. There were things I think were evident that something was going on, but still no one saw or
How?
no one paid enough attention
That's what it is. Because how? Because
because
how?
it ain't their
Because I know
kid.
they have you in therapy, but
Yeah,
this is just blowing my mind. Because how? And they just keep medicating you, I'm sure. Here's this
yeah,
prescription, here's that prescription. You need this, you need that. Make sure she takes this, and so on and
yep,
so forth. Meanwhile, nobody's really dealing with Brittney.
right. So, I mean, it is what it is at this point.
Well, okay, let's keep walking. Let's get high school.
I think, well, maybe before then, advocacy started.
Okay.
I'm on this campus. It's a big open campus, but it's a group home for kids that are wards of the state. So there was a school like on the campus, and
Mm-hmm.
there was also public school. And we ninth grade. I'm not starting with my twin. High school, I'm not starting. So that was something in itself. And remember them wanting to say, "Hey, we want to have you start in this this on-campus school first and then transfer to public. And I'm like, no, I want to start on the first day of school like everybody else. I want the experience of getting lost, meeting some friends, like just that. There's no
Just
way.
some normalcy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no way I want to be. I'm already in an environment and a situation that I'm still not familiar with. I don't want to feel that going into this school. So my case was heard. It was won. I started Grosse Pointe North High School on the first day of school, like everybody else. Met two really good friends who I don't know how, but managed to get her mom on my visitors list. So on weekends or whatever, like, hey, tell your mama to schedule a visit off grounds so I could come. It worked. I'm like, okay, this is working. Let me go and get the other homie on the list. So there was,
Okay. And what were y'all doing for real?
well, the girl lived directly down the street from the
Okay.
group home. So, and she had it going on. I'm gonna have to ask her the name of the phone, but had it like the latest shoes. She was the only child. I
Okay.
mean, when I say had it going on,
Mm-hmm.
like we would just go over there, whatever teenagers do. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
MySpace was popping.
Oh,
I
not
would,
MySpace. Not MySpace. Not
I would
Jonathan
get to
Tom. What's his name?
school.
Tom? What's his name? Tom?
No,
But no, 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 no,
no.
no. The guy he was your friend on MySpace. The little
Oh,
white.
child.
What was that little white man name?
What?
I think
You
it
know
was
what?
Tom. I don't know. Somebody tell me in the comments what that man's name was.
Oh,
MySpace. You know,
what's?
went back to MySpace. Anywho,
Yeah. So I
but it
would get
sounds
on
like
there.
you found some normalcy for yourself, and you had to be your own advocate.
Yeah, she
However,
would
you
let
had to make it
me.
work.
Yeah, because I would get there, I would be able to reach out to my sister. I was able to communicate with my social worker. We did a lot of emailing.
Okay.
But Brittany, her name was Brittany Pippin. She would let me use her phone to call out just whatever. Like it was clutch. Now Bianca and I communicated through poetry. So we
Mm,
would write like our spoken word, and that's how we talked, like
that's
through email.
interesting.
Like
Let
I
me
don't
ask
know
you a
how.
question. Do you still call her Bianca? At,
Yeah, yeah,
even though her name is Maya?
because that ain't her name.
It's not. You're
That's
right.
not her
It
name.
isn't. Yeah, it's not. So you're communicating through poetry with your twin. Does this go on all during high school, or at some point does this
Oh, it
end as
went
well?
on even to when I got back to Port Huron and was with foster parent E by then.
Whew.
The police officers that taught us in fifth grade about drugs, the reason why I didn't do it. So there, you remember Dare?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we had a Dare officer, and she would come in talk about drugs. I'm like, oh, I ain't gonna never do no drugs, and because why would I? What was going on at the
It was
house? We
going on
saw
at the
the
house.
effects,
Yeah.
and by this time, nope, I'm sorry, Dare foster parent F. I was at another foster
Wait,
home.
6. Okay.
Yep. So when I left the group home, I went to foster parent E. She's a little crazy, and it's always the ones in church. But in the church, didn't
Yeesh.
want to let me do any sibling visits, like the whole nine. I remember packing up my backpack, my journal, and leaving. And she was just like, "Oh, I'm telling you now, if you leave, I'm gonna call the police. I'm having them arrest you." I walked right up to them. I said, "Hey, do you know Officer such and such?" And they're like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, can you call her and tell her that I left my foster home and had instructions to go to her mother-in-law house. I'll never forget, she was frying some pork chops. And I got to Gigi house and waited. That was the first time I rode in the back of a police car when
Mm-hmm.
Officer B had came and picked us up. I mean, well, picked me up. And I remember sitting in that police station begging, like, please, can I live with you? Can I live with you? And she was just like, Brittany, I got rules, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to follow them. And I went to the Harbor House, which is the emergency house that I went to after I left where my
Mm-hmm.
sisters were. August 1st of 2007, I moved in with Officer B and her family. And they were the longest foster home. They were foster home. I was there 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Longest foster home I ever been in. Her husband was a cop, so I lived with two police officers. Couldn't get away with nothing.
Nothing.
And I'm like, this is not fair. Y'all deal with criminals every day. It make it harder for me
And
to
yeah, and they're
lie.
trying to keep you from being one. So yeah.
So I was there 10th grade and stayed there until I went off to college.
So when you were going in and out of foster care, going from A to B to C to D, are you being put out every time because they just couldn't
Because of
deal
behaviors. Yep.
behavior every time? Okay. Until you
And the
got to
group,
these last ones.
yeah. So in the group home, I was playing the game. Like people I got connected with was starting to leave the group home. They was getting adopted or being reunited with family. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. But in between being at the foster in the group home, I had this staff who I just loved, and knowing that it wasn't an option to go back to where my twin was,
Mm-hmm.
that's when, like, okay, if I can't be adopted by them, I wanted to be adopted by this staff who was open to it, but then there was a fear of her losing her job, and so this is, it is
So
that.
you said there was four of you. So two got adopted. You're bouncing through the system. What about
And
that
my
fourth
other
one?
sister. She was bouncing through the system. She was in like maximum security group homes. Yeah.
Okay. So would you be considered to have aged out of the system?
I aged out at 20. So 18, 19, and then I stayed in and did voluntary foster care. I didn't know what I was doing. So I stayed in that extra year, start getting a little check, and I was like, okay, it's got to be more to this.
Voluntary foster care. I have to admit, this is the first time I've even ever heard that term. Explain to me what that is.
So a lot of youth that'll stay in care, they have the option they could stay in. Like I know Georgia's 21, they can stay
Hmm.
in an extra year. You either have to be in school or be working,
Okay.
and most because they don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So either it's like a some type of like housing that they'll have. Like I know in Michigan, they helped me get a place. Some were able to stay or in like a shelter setting. Like here, they have the Covenant House. So there's like homeless youth or foster youth that are there. But yeah, you voluntarily stay in. You can either close the case, be done completely, or you can stay in, but you have to check in with the social worker and give the updates.
So after you have completed voluntary foster care, what's next?
I was here. I came here. This was new for me, Georgia. And
How
I
did you
was
make the
like,
transition out of voluntary foster care into the
so
real world?
shoot, transitioning
She's still,
now, if we
I'm
being
still
honest.
transitioning.
If we being honest,
Yeah.
I left Michigan going to Texas and met biological family on my dad's side. So during foster care experience, learned that Kathy was adopted at birth. This is my biological.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So I met my biological dad's side in Dallas. I thought that was my final stop.
Oh,
But it's
hold
like
on. So
some.
I got hold on because I was going to ask about about a father, but you beat me to the punch. Um, did you know him? Was he ever in your life?
Yeah, I guess when it was convenient. Yeah.
So he and your mother were not married. They just had some kids together. Was that the situation?
Yeah, me and my sister.
You and your
And
sister.
then
Okay.
the other
So
6 daughters that he has. So
okay. So what prompts you to go and meet his side of the family?
because my twin had called me and said, hey, we got an uncle, a grandpa in Dallas. And I was
Okay.
like, what? Because by then I was digging into ancestry.
Okay.
And Bianca called and was like, yeah, one played the organ and he a pastor or some stuff. And I was like, oh. So I spent 8 months talking to my Uncle Kevin, just building a relationship. I
Mm-hmm.
finally got up enough courage to, fly to Texas. This is when AirTran was still in business.
Oop.
I left Michigan, going to Dallas, Texas, stayed there for a month, went to Arkansas, went to Louisiana, went to Arkansas, met some more family, met my auntie,
Do you
who I
have
still
any
talk to.
contact with your biological father?
No,
Just as people?
yeah, just his brothers, his sisters, yeah.
Why?
Because they were open, they were accepting.
Okay.
But I'm not begging nobody for a relationship that ain't
Okay.
interested
I
or
hear that.
only
I
when
hear
it's
that.
convenient.
I hear
Yeah,
that.
so
I
I'm
hear
good on
that.
that.
Okay. But the family is
Yeah.
open. Okay.
Yeah, every now and then, we talk on Facebook. I haven't been to Dallas in, geez, a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's
And what about, you said your mom was adopted, but before they, you guys went into foster care, was there nobody in the family that could have taken you all?
We were told no, but then talking to my brother, he said that his side, I do have a brother. Oh, did I leave that out? Yes. I have a brother. He's the oldest out of all four girls.
Okay.
He and I were trying our hand at developing a relationship. But he stated that his dad tried to get us his aunts and uncles, but was told that the state said basically that we were crazy and it wouldn't be a good fit. And those weren't their words that we were
Yeah.
crazy, but we had too many mental
A lot going
instabilities.
on.
And I was
Yeah.
like, whoa,
So
whoa.
was he in the system as well?
No, he was with his
He
dad.
was with his dad. Wow.
Listen, the story is crazy. We have my brother's last name, his dad.
Okay.
So apparently, all the dads ran together back in the day and all of that.
Okay.
And one was threatened if they came to the hospital, it wasn't going to be nice. And so
So
there's a whole lot with that.
I have, because I know you have a book, so I'm not going to dive too deep, but I would like to ask about your mother. How is she? Is
I don't know. I don't talk to her.
You don't, no contact?
No,
Okay.
I mean, she on Facebook, I guess she, but I don't talk to her.
Okay. So I'm gonna turn a corner because through all of your story, you have a foundation. Talk about it.
Suitcase in a Dream is actually the name of the book. A Suitcase in a Dream, My True Story from Foster to Prosper. So the book came first.
Okay.
It did pretty good in 2019. And I decided that I wanted to go an extra step. Like, what else can I do? I wanted to do more. And I was like, you know what? I think I want to start a foundation. The thought, and then it became a foundation in 2021, where we started to provide suitcases for anybody that was aging out of foster care. That's how I got to Georgia, with a suitcase and dreams of living here.
Ooh.
Back in 2012 from Texas. It was just always a dream of mine to live here.
Mm-hmm.
I had everything in my suitcase, but what I needed just to help me on my journey of survival. So I had the clothes, I didn't have my toiletries, and I didn't have food. So in our suitcases, we provide that. And we also, it's like a two-way street. So you got the suitcase, but then there's this element of the unpacking. So there's a
Mm.
lot of things that I found out throughout the years after foster care. So I've been doing a lot of unpacking, healing. One of the things I unpacked was autism, the
Had you
healing.
ever been diagnosed with autism?
No, just the basics: ADHD, depression,
Okay.
anxiety. But actually was late diagnosed with autism last June. I was 31. And talking to a
Mm.
sister of mine was like, oh, there were some developmental delays when I was born. But and then I called, Kathy to, ask. And she was like, no, wasn't you, it was your sister, the other sister, So there was some things with that. So just finding out that the healing that I've been doing, also being in a marriage that I probably shouldn't have been in. So unpacking that, healing that, being in a marriage where husband decides he wants to talk to somebody else, which is a reminder of me not being adopted. It's like I wasn't good enough. It's like I was picked last for dodgeball. Him doing that, dealing with jobs, the friendships, familyship, so all the things that came with that, the healing. So you have to unpack, the heal, and the dream. You never stop dreaming, no matter the circumstances. So that's like the basis. Suitcase provides suitcases. We provide the tools that are needed to unpack. The resources. And then I think that's it for now.
Okay. I love that. I love that. And how can the people find you? How can they donate?
You can find me on all the platforms. Suitcase Dream 19. That's our tag for PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. Yeah, I think I did it right.
All of it. I will make sure to drop all of that in the description when we release this, for sure. My final question for you. What would you say to the little girl that's going through foster care right now and would so happen to hear this? What would your message be to her?
Never stop dreaming. Simple. Don't stop dreaming. Because I feel like prior to foster care, 5th grade, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do? Where do you want to live? I was going to be an actress, comedian. I was going to live in Atlanta, Georgia. I was going to have 5 best-selling books. And I was going to have a movie about my life on Lifetime. So there's been some things that I've manifested since.
I was going to say, give me the check. Let's check off some things off that list. What have you manifested?
A book.
Okay.
A movie.
Okay.
In Georgia.
Okay. That's a mic drop moment. Yeah. Don't stop dreaming. I love that. I want to thank you for coming and sharing your story. You're going to help somebody for sure. There's going to be more to come with Brittney. You stuck with me now, so there's going to be more to come. Is there anything else you want to say to the people before we close?
Yeah, I think there's no age limit on adoption. Since I've discovered adult adoption. So I am excited to say that I will be getting adopted, have my forever mom. The best thing that's ever happened to me. I just think where we are, where we've been, it can't compare to where we're going.
I'm so glad you decided to share that.
Thank
And
you.
I'm so happy for you and congratulations. And we're definitely going to have to get updates
Yes.
as that process happens.
Starts.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure. We're going to need updates.
Yes. And one last thing, I will be launching my podcast, Suitcase Conversations.
Yay!
What's in your suitcase?
I'm going to ask a whole lot of people that question. What's in your suitcase? I'm so
What you
proud of
holding
you.
on to? Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. So, like I said, she is not going to be a stranger to the Adoption Journey podcast at all. You will be seeing Brittney again because there's more to her story than what she told today, for sure. I want to thank you for coming on. Don't leave me. Just hang on 1 second. And on that note, until next week, bye, family.
Journey on. You need a pie with the good? Oh yeah, what's the one?